And we're back here at Sunset Beach for the second heat of the day, round number 2, heat number 4, featuring Michael Rodrigues, Cooper Chapman, Michael Dunphy, and Lucas Silveira. And up and riding is Michael Dunphy. Kind of searching for the barrel there. And gets a nice turn off the top for the surfer from Virginia Beach. And a second kind of nurse turn, but that's going to count. And then finally gets bucked off as some of that reverb hits some. Kuiper along here with Ross Williams and Michael Dunphy with a well-surfed wave.
Not bad, but it was functional, Kuiper. You saw how he kind of, it's all about extending your line at sunset. Anyone can do just a sharp little tight turn right here. You can see, wow, pretty nice there from Cooper Chapman from Australia. Big old young Aussie, and another carve there. You can see him pushing a little bit extra. You saw his fins at the end of that second carve. Wow, and there's variety. So that is a solid off the lip. That's not just your standard maneuver right there. For him to hit the lip with that much force, that actually looked like something you do on a head high wave. But Cooper Chapman did that on a double overhead wave, so he is going to get a massive score in my opinion. And here's the tribute to MR again. Even the first snap was a bit like that, and then he extends those arms again, so the wingspan was out. And that was all on purpose, Kuiper. He's trying to get that rail to draw a longer, wider arc, so he's kind of using his arms to glide through it. And Michael Rodrigues, again, a little bit, we were talking about prior to this heat, underdog in the making for the CT campaign.
Here we go, Michael Dunphy, 25 years old from Virginia Beach, and live action with Michael Rodrigues. Nice arcing turn, top to bottom, double pump off the bottom, goes for a little float to be safe there, does a good job of staying on his feet. It looks like he's looking for a little bit more, but that thing's going to be in the channel. Here we go with Lucas Silveira. Kind of seeking a barrel, moving down the line, going for the stall right now, gets in the barrel. Can he muscle out? And the answer is no, unfortunately, for the World Junior Champ.
It doesn't happen all the time. It's pretty rare.
So let's take a look at some replays, Ross.
Here's Michael Rodrigues. There's that extension. See him holding that line just a little longer, trying to impress the judges with big maneuvers, and then just a nice little floater, but nothing too critical, so that's going to keep the score modest. And behind him, Lucas Silveira, again, kind of a dark horse in this heat. I feel like he could easily take this thing out. He's got a knack for surfing big at sunset.
It's time to get a good wave, and yeah, I got one and kind of pulled in. It didn't even barrel. I should have just tried to surf it, but yeah, I was just too amped. It was so good. I saw some really good waves when I was watching, and guys just getting barrels. So I tried to hunt that at the end, but I didn't get it. But maybe next round.
How is it lining up? You know, when you get out here, it's probably the first time you've been able to surf sunset this size since you've been here.
It's all about sitting more wide and looking for that big old beautiful A-frame. Speaking of beautiful A-frames, look at that thing. Picture perfect there for the American Michael Dunphy. And there's a nice little hook, a little higher there, so more committed. He went further up the face. And a second one, so both those moves were placed not conservatively. You know, he kind of threw some commitment there right underneath that danger lip line. So I didn't mind that at all from Michael Dunphy. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the score has dropped for that wave, and it's a solid one, Kuips. Where am I? You know, you're in the dark out there. You need help.
Here we go, Lucas Silveira struggling to find a nice wave, and he does so right here. He's going to tube seek again, but that's not going to pay off for him. So it looks like Lucas is one-minded. This is the second time I've seen him just looking for that barrel.
Yeah, it's easy to do out there. You know, you see a perfect wave during a free surf, and you want one of those.
Here's Michael Rodrigues, good-looking corner here. He stalls and, gosh, just gets caught up in one of those curbs moving sideways through the face.
Yeah, and it's part of the conditions out there. What's going on is it's so A-framey that everyone's setting themselves up for the barrel, but because it's a deep water wave and we're coming off of high tide, not every wave is barreling. So, you know, you're going to have to adjust a little bit, take off a little further towards the channel to make sure that you can get to work and do some maneuvers. It's exactly what happens right here, too. He's behind the peak, so he's kind of set up for a tube ride, but as you can see, this wave is not barreling. It's too almondy, it's pinching, so he got nothing done. If he would have been further to the shoulder, maybe he could have got a couple of snaps and started chipping away at this heat.
Right behind him, Michael Rodrigues, waiting patiently, scooting down the line, looking to place his first turn, and he does it with a beautiful arcing little layback jam. One turn wave, but a quality turn. Looks like he's going to milk it. And He's going to prove me wrong, but all that distance actually for nothing on there on the inside.
They want to see you outside on a big wave doing a big turn.
I think you're right on that one, Ross. Let's take another look at it.
Here we go. And speaking of big turns, this is nice. Watch him lean back a little bit, as you mentioned. Watch that back foot. Got stylish too, just kind of dragged his backhand. That was nice.
Cooper Chapman up and riding. Nice little turn off the top for Cooper. Couple of triple pump off the bottom, gets a second turn, nurses it around, stays on his feet this time, and now he's going to get rid of that 1-point ride that he has in his scoreline. He's still currently in second place for each surfer, and that's how we deem their placings. As you can see on the graphic here, let's take another look at it.
Well, the one thing that will really affect this score is the height of the wave. It's a smaller wave by today's standards, but it should allow Cooper to, be a little more critical. But he extended out that carve, got just a little bit of a rebound. But in general, I think the judges will penalize him just a little bit for the height of the wave. They want to see you on waves about this size right here, a double overhead during a break right here. That's Lucas Silveira. That's who me and you were kind of pegging as maybe the guy to possibly win this heat. He is sneaky good out here, and that's the reason right there. Heavy-footed, especially on that back foot. He really stomps on it, and he did it 3 times on that wave. So now, finally here, in the last 10 minutes, Lucas is going to have a shot. Well, Cooper Chapman out there right now, still sitting in lead, but this is yellow right here. Look at this bottom turn from Lucas Silveira, and that's that snap right in the money part of the wave. Backhand, that's a classic layback jam right in a pocket. So you can see the commit right there. He had to step on his tail just a little bit to keep from poking. We saw unsuccessful
out in the water to make sure they're in the right place. Michael Dunphy chooses to go on this one, comes around this section, nice section, snaps off the top, eyeing up another turn off the bottom again, and has to kind of nurse that turn, but gets through there. Dunphy gets another snap in, so good surfing. He's going to stay in second place unless this guy, Michael Rodrigues, just goes crazy on this wave, and that's not going to do it. So 7 minutes and 41 seconds counting down.
That could make him, right there in a safety zone here in the last 7 minutes. If he doesn't move to first, he'll at least separate himself from Lucas a bit. And waiting for this wave patiently, nice little jam in the pocket, but just a quick turn. So this one is where he really needs to capitalize, and he gets stuck in that rib. There was kind of that flat section there, and that's why he did a 2-stage carve. And then one little pivot before he kicked out. So it's not going to be a huge score, but definitely, in the conversation for what he needs to move to first.
You can see the yellow jersey out there. He's going to take a look at each and every one of those waves and deem if that's score worthy. Michael Rodrigues up and riding, looking down the line. Let's see what he's got for us. A little snap under the lip. Whitewater gets in front of him, comes around for another vicious, way more committed turn number 2, and just a roundhouse on the shoulder.
Wow, that was frustrating for Michael. It was a really solid snap, but he was biding his time, waiting for that wave to lay down and give him space to do a maneuver. And by the time he actually was freed up to do a layback snap, the wave was finished right into the channel. So look at all this time he's burning. That's just a check fade. That won't really score. This maneuver is really solid, though. Little hook right in the pocket. That's something you'd see, on a head-high wave. So it's always cool when someone can do a maneuver that's progressive at Sunset Beach. It's always going to bode well for you.
Here we go, pulling the trigger with first priority. Lucas Silveira hooks it off the top there. Gets a little air underneath his board after the turn. Smooth arcing turn, keeping it on the rail all the way through. Another smooth arcing turn for the big young Brazilian. Double clench fist. He's feeling that he got that 4.45 that he needed to move into second place.
It'll be pretty easy for the judges to come up with that number.
Here we go, Cooper Chapman. He wants to stay in second place. He wants to do better than a 2.6 and make the job harder for Lucas Silveira. And unfortunately, mistimed that.
It'll be pretty easy for the judges to come up with that number.
Here we go, Cooper Chapman. He wants to stay in second place. He wants to do better than a 2.6 and make the job harder for Lucas Silveira. And unfortunately, mistimed that. And that's not going to do it. So the door is going to be open. Lucas Silveira we're on standby for that last score of yellow, and that's going to tell the tale for us.
Well, it's he's had a kind of a weird heat for Lucas. This is, if he ends up making it this heat, he's going to feel so relieved because he's had a funky one. A lot of falls and out of position, but that solid that second carve was really nice, and the third one was a bonus. But the second carve for me, he pushed really hard on it. He got a lot of board under the water, which means he is really pushing hard. You know, it looks good for him. He should be able to advance through. The waves today just small enough to kind of dance with the lip today. You know, that's always going to be a sketchy move. You won't see that go down if the waves get a little bit bigger.
Well, now Cooper Chapman's in a really bad place because everyone's ahead of him. Here's our heat leader, Michael Dunphy. And now he's feeling a little bit comfortable. Probably hears the news that he's in the lead. Little bubble ride after a nice opening slash for Dunphy. And I'm anticipating giving the time that he's just going to ride this one all the way in. Lucas Silveira right behind him, going to town. Smaller wave, but you can see the strength and power that this young man has. Just knifing that board through the water, able to get through all these chops, lumps, and bumps. Big old snap on the inside, keeps on going. He says, why not one more? I'm coming in. I want first place in the interview. Let's see if he gets it.
That's a nice way to end the heat.
With the horn sounding, and Michael Dunphy, he's going to come in. Lucas Silveira, he's advancing on. Unfortunate for Cooper Chapman and Michael Rodrigues. Stick around. We'll be right back from Sunset Beach.